How's it going, everybody? This is the Hammered Airsoft Smith, bringing you my review on the M92F Samurai Edge gas blowback airsoft gun. It is based off of an M92F customized pistol from the Resident Evil video game franchise. Sadly, it's not featured in any of the movies that I know of. It was not featured in every video game of the franchise, but it was featured in quite a bit of them. I'm not going to name all of them, but I'm going to name some. Resident Evil, Director's Cut, Remake / Rebirth, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 5, only in the Mercenaries, not the actual story, or many call, or the game itself calls it the campaign. Operation Raccoon City, Revelations, and possibly a few more. Essentially, the gun is a slightly customized M92F semi-automatic. The real steel is a 9mm. This is a 6mm. I run mine on propane with usually 20 gram BBs. I put about 308 rounds to this pistol, and she's doing flawlessly, hence this review. She's full metal. For those of you who don't understand what full metal is, full metal simply means whatever is metal on the real steel counterpart should be metal on the Airsoft version. These are fake wooden grips with stippling. Very it's not aggressive, but it's enough to actually do what it's supposed to do. There are emblems on both sides of the grips. You'll see they're actually quite worn. You'll know by this one, because that doesn't look quite right. These emblems are usually navy blue and gold. I'm a righty, so this side will start showing some black. To prevent that from happening, you may need to, well, you should, if you want to prevent it from happening, put some sort of lacquer on those emblems. Me, personally, I actually don't care that much, because it just makes the guns that much more personal. Now, I mentioned just before, there are only some slight changes from the standard M92Fs and the Samurai Edge M92Fs. Well, one being these grips. Another, these engravings. Special Tactics and Rescue Squad, Raccoon City Police Department Special Team. Mod Samurai Edge, law enforcement use only. That trademark there is a proof mark, along with these 3 other, or actually 4 other trademarks, which are kind of hard to pick up, but you can kind of get the gist of it. That's about the only difference, really, between a standard M92F and the Stars Samurai Edge M92F. For those of you who don't know, Stars is actually no more than a SWAT team. They were not trained specially for zombies and all that stuff. They were just, like I said, they were essentially SWAT. Combined with like bomb squad or such. They were trained to take down human assailants, not mutants and such. Alright, so anyways, so this is not a zombie killer. It's not based off of a zombie killer. I'm throwing it out there because it drives me nuts when people say that shit. It really does. Any gun can really kill a zombie. It just depends on where you shoot it and how many rounds you put into it. Of course, what caliber would have a great impact as well. Alright, so let's talk about some functions, like the safety, for one. Right now it's on safe. Now it's on fire. It's a semi-automatic double action trigger. The hammer is not cocked. This is double action. Now after you fire your double action shot, it will go into a single action shot. Single action trigger pull, which is very light, comfortable, and crisp. Every shot from there on out will be single action. Here is a demonstration of the trigger pull. Okay. It's got a little creep, but it is quite noticeable. That's your reset, but that's a double action reset, so you do not pay attention to that. You need to pay attention to this trigger reset. Okay? So fire the gun. Here's a single action reset. This is what you will get. Very nice. Very short. Even for me, I have short fingers but wide palms. You see, on double action, I could barely reach that trigger with my positive grip. But once it's on single action, I can reach it just fine. This safety should be a decocker, but it's not. That's fine in my opinion. I'm not bothered by that at all. As you can see, numerous times just now I've resetted the hammer forward without any issues. Can you do that with the magazine in? I haven't tried it. I don't feel like wasting gas just in case it disperses. Or ejects prematurely. Wow, that sounded Anyways, I failed to mention this serial number here. I believe is not unique. We have 3 dot sights, 3 white dot sights, slide stop, which is quite reliable. It also depends on the magazines, of course. Takedown lever, your mag catch, of course your trigger, forward and rear cocking serrations. You have serrations in front of the trigger guard. You have serrations on the rear of the grip, the front of the grip, and on the hammer spur. You also have some serrations, did I say on the slide catch? Well, I'm saying it again, just in case. Some on this side, the left side, which is for righties. Which is hard for me to engage because I have small hands. I usually have to engage it with 2 hands. But anyways, there are serrations 3 or 4 on this side and about 1 or 2 on this side. Right, so you could see a lot of the chrome line outer barrel, which they did a very good job. WE is they. WE did a very good job of chrome lining its barrel. It's not much wear on it whatsoever. It's got a very, very open ejection port here. The real steel counterparts were made like that to prevent malfunctions such as stovepipes. The grip is quite large, but I make do. If you got bigger hands than me, then you should be fine. The FPS, well, you may not hear me talk a lot about feet per second, and I'll tell you why right now. Because it varies. Scientifically, it can vary. You know, many say this gun is this gun is that, or many will argue, like, for example, this gun is 320, or it's 290, or it's 350. I'm just throwing out examples here. That's not what people actually say about the gun, but it does vary. It varies of its full metal, it varies of its plastic, it varies of the temperature, what climate, state, country, wherever, province you may live, what propellant you use. Is it duster gas? Is it propane, red gas, so on? What gram BBZ you use? It all depends. Your inner barrel, your hop rubber, it all depends. This is why I usually just say some sort of rounded idea of what it says on the box. I live in a warm country. I use propane. I use 0.20 gram BBs. It's full metal. Usually I use full metal guns. I'd say this gun is about 350 feet per second, maybe a little bit more in the summer. It's a little hot, but that's fine. It wears nicely, as you can see. It doesn't wear like crap. Like, unfortunately, the 1911s do. They chip a lot right here, which drives me insane. But other than that, it wears in some places like it should. The barrel is threaded. It comes with an orange threaded tip, which is pretty easy to remove if you put it in boiling hot water for 5 minutes straight. Obviously wear hand protection and whatnot so you don't burn yourself. And then gently just kind of take pliers and shimmy back and forth. It will loosen and loosen, and eventually you can just take it off. Alright, you might be able to see. If not, you'll see in a second. There's a blue inner barrel in there. Alright, I'll get to that in a minute. Oh, also, this is normally black. Which I did not like because I wanted this to look a little bit more like the one from the game, the video game franchise. So I stripped the paint off of it. So now it looks just like the one in the game. More specifically, the Resident Evil Rebirth remake. This takedown lever here, you depress this button on this side, simultaneously grabbing this takedown lever, by the lip, pushing down. You see the slide came off a little bit, just glide it off. You can reset the hammer and trigger there. This is the guide rod. You push it forward and turn it towards you or away. It's easier toward you, to where you can see that little hook. Well, it's not really a hook, but you can see that. To remove the barrel, you push it all the way forward till it can't no more. Tilt it up and kind of just guide it out like so. To adjust your hop up, you push down this barrel locking lug here. Bring the outer barrel forward and off. This inner barrel is a high precision barrel. To adjust your hop up, you adjust this screw as if you're loosening or tightening a regular screw. I suggest putting Loctite on that screw, blue Loctite, and adjust it accordingly until you find that sweet spot. And then after doing so, fire a couple more rounds, and then put the gun down and leave it alone for about an hour so the Loctite can dry, settle, and then you won't have to worry about your hop up loosening on its own, because it will. You'll see that this is not a Browning design locking lug system. This is a Walther P38 style. By the way, these lugs are made of high impact ABS or polymer. Not quite sure. Not too concerned. I did fire over 308 rounds. 308 rounds out of this. .20 E-Vike rounds. Over here, we're looking at the frame. Full length guide rails, which ensures superb accuracy and control. You could tell here that they obviously would make a rail version out of this at some point or whatnot, something along those lines. Chrome lined parts are inside. You can't really see the other part, but there's a valve knocker there that's chrome lined. To reassemble, you saw me reassemble the slide. Now we just slide the slide back slightly to about here. Wait, sorry, here, and then that's it. The magazine, I've had some issues with this magazine. It leaks sometimes, but it doesn't. And then sometimes when it does leak and I fire about 3 rounds out of it, it stops leaking. It's acting kind of funky, but I'm not concerned at all. It's nothing that bad. You see there are trades, M92F, military. Gosh, you're not going to be able to see this. Military model. They hold 20 some odd rounds, but like the real steel, I only put about 15, and that's also like the one in the game, or in the franchise. This is the magazine that came with it, and then I have 3 HFC magazines. HFC magazines work perfectly in this gun. So obviously when I first bought the gun, I already had 3 spare magazines for it. I kind of planned that. They all lock back just fine. Well, sometimes it depends. Sometimes, you know, they get a little goopy or whatever. They act up a little bit. It's not a problem. It's really not. The felt recoil on the gun is very, very nice. Very controllable. It's easy to, you know, keep your sight picture. But also that depends on the user, of course. Did I mention that this should... Yeah, I did mention that this should act like a decocker, but it doesn't. Well, if I didn't, I'm mentioning it now. And the reason why it gets stuck there is because there's a full auto variant. There are many variants of this gun. Anyways. No failures, by the way, if I mentioned that. Here's a little target from 25 feet away using .20 E-Vike rounds. Propane, 12 shots today. It's to show some quick fire grouping. Not bad, considering this paper is only a little bit smaller than my hand. Some may argue and be like, oh, well, that's crap. Well, whatever. Quick little comparisons, I have time. The gun is thicker than a 1911. But actually, it's not longer. If you line up the grips like so, it's actually not longer. It looks like it would be. This is a large handgun, but mostly by the grip, and it's got some bulk to it. And it's wider than a 1911, but the 1911 is still a little bit longer. Just figured I'll throw that out there for, you know, review sake, in case anyone was wondering that. So there you have it. She is absolutely wonderful. Like I said, there's different variants. The price can vary. This was $89 on sale. And, you know, I've had some experience with M9s in the past. An M9 from KWA, that was plastic. That didn't work out for me. An M9 3R, which is half plastic, half metal. That didn't work out for me. An HFC Special Forces Select Fire M9A1, had a rail and such. That thing was amazing. That's where the 3 extra magazines came from. I talked about it before. Talked about quite a bit of this stuff before. And that gun was amazing. This is like a... like that, but even better in my eyes. Semi-automatic, and it's replicated after one of my favorite guns in any franchise, period. Alright, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope I mentioned everything I was supposed to. These reviews, sometimes they get a little out there. If you have any questions at all whatsoever, please do ask. And I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And for, you know, just why not purposes, this is not loaded, I'll just fire it once. Now, if the magazine, by the way, I'm glad I did this. By the way, the magazine is actually loaded with BBs and gas. If you insert the magazine and then pull a double action without, like if you load the gun and there's a BB in the chamber, okay, and you put it back to where it's a double action trigger again, you reinsert the magazine without cocking the hammer, pull the trigger, it will shoot on double action. Just throwing it out there in case, you know, for any... But since there's no ammo in it, it won't do it. Cock it. Still won't do it, because it has to be a round in the chamber. But anyways... I'll see you ladies and gentlemen around.